will be enough to carry them on through, as we are carried on through into game ourselves here. And it's so hard when you're in this situation, when you're commentating a team that has so little going for them, as they at least get a nice little poke out onto Jet, get some information early on there, get a little bit of confidence coursing through their veins. But one way we can sort of attack evaluating how this game is going to be proceeding forward is, let's go into that magic world where the nameplates are off, Temporal. Whose comp overall do you like better here?
Sengoku's by far. It actually has means of attack, whereas a V3 is looking for means to survive until hopefully Aphelios can just absolutely kill everything, which is not the best insurance policy.
Yeah, it is press the attack coming forward from the Aphelios. I suppose that makes some sense in this matchup against the Jinx. Maybe you're not going to be stacking the Conqueror that we would see as easily. Looking for a little bit of a quicker trading pattern as we see Washidai and Paz trade out. Double fleet footwork coming through up top lane. Can you tell that neither of these top laners is a big carry threat for their team, as Washidai going to get a boomerang back at least, but Paz definitely coming out on top there.
Comes out on top. The Graves can still be the threat. The fleet footwork, leads into that drain tank. A little bit of extra movement speed normally helps the Graves out in those fights. But yeah, Washidai, he might do a bit of damage, but we're looking for those huge Nars this game. We're looking for the follows up with the Shockwave. It all coming together piece by piece. I like Blitzcrank Sun's confidence. That might be some historical Orianna data, and the lack of the Orianna versus Ari matchup as Yu-Gi-Oh taken to half. That is going to be the story of the game for the next 20 minutes. I think it's just going to be Jet wandering forwards and seeing what he can find.
Definitely feels like a prophetic turn of events there, as Jet going to tick over level 3 first, but not going to hold it for too much longer. Does have the way of pushing forward. I have to say here, Temporal, I'm not sure I've seen Blitzkun predict a match correctly yet in my brief time with the LJL. It feels bad.
Last split, very close. Heddle going in, though.
Yeah, the Abyssal Voyage did connect. Always good to see a Tom Kench land those aggressively, but look at the returns. The Death Sentence, the Glacial Augment, slow out coming through, but Honey not able to find too much damage back in return. At the very least, it is a slightly losing trade instead of a big losing trade. Have the pots popping as well. Both of these AD carries opting for the 3 pop, but once again, Hadel is going to get it down. Honey forced to flash back, but look at that Death Sentence into the zap. Unica here to back up the play, but Hadel taking down the slow out off the back of that W, but now it's once galloping on forward, finding Dress Code and Hadel. Can he convert on the kill? However, going to go back, but look at the juke out from the Kench. Oh, but it will be Jet roaming all the way down to find the first blood in the end there. What a party in the bot lane here.
Sengoku coming together, you mentioned, and it's the way I feel about Ari as well. If you're not making plays, if you're not active, if you're not getting out of the lane, the champion not very strong. Instead, we see a convincing start from Sengoku. We see them reach that bot lane, and something that wasn't going great completely flipped around as the 2v2 getting rougher and rougher. You notice Honey only 450 health here, maybe slightly higher, just clipped on the knockup. Jet is already out of lane as soon as they've gone straight in. NT with the Thresh knows this turnaround is decent. It's kind of hard for the Thresh to get onto the Kench in lane, but if the Kench keeps coming forward, the Thresh, suddenly his tools enabled, and while once might just miss out on dress code here, Jet more than able to flash forwards, pick up the kill, and secure Sengoku that first fight.
Yeah, just clean, fundamental mid lane play coming out, right? Shove and roam. The timer was great there, as Sengoku has picked up another kill in the meanwhile. I didn't quite catch how that one went down. Did once convert on...
So, all right, we'll go back to the replay. Once finds Unica and Yu-Gi-Oh! It just looks like Jet's just going to burst out Unica before Washidai arrives. Case of too little too soon, methinks. Maybe not respecting the Ari in her early game power spike. This champion now doesn't take so long to get going where she's going, doesn't need a few items to blow someone up, so just straight in there and able to just keep the ball rolling. Sengoku looked really good in this early game.
Yeah, can't say that's much of a surprise based on what our expectations were coming in, but hopefully V3 still has a little bit of chutzpah in the tank, wants to show something, but Jet going to find another chunk out onto Yu-Gi-Oh! Over the wall. And with these tier 2 boots already picked up, the early spell pen going to offer a little bit of oomph.
Oh,
And now that level 6 Spirit Rush as well, so mobile will be Jet with that extra movement speed and the dashing about off the ultimate. Going to have to keep our eyes on that Ari as we move forward. It is about 2K already, the advantage, 1.7 thereabouts for Sengoku. If there is going to be any answer back in the meanwhile, I know you've said we're sort of looking at V3 to play a very defensive, wait for Aphelios to scale game, but if they want to slow this game down and get that scaling fantasy going, how are they going to do it? Adel going forward. The Gravitum is there, but Anti going to get that shield out onto himself. Once again, turning around the Death Sentence into the choppers. The thick skin is there to prevent the death, but Anti and Honey unbothered in this bot lane.
it's pretty rough. This maybe speaks to Hidal maybe not playing the matchup at this level. In solo queue, it's always great. You know, use your body as Tom Kench. You got the 2 health bars to really push the 2v2 out of control if you're the focus, but when it comes to competitive, it's really not so difficult for 2 scaling AD carries to just hold back, let you come forwards into them. You know, you might lose 200 or 300 health points, but the Death Sentence turnaround once there is no Abyssal Voyage, very, very easy. Dress code will be spotted here. Once we'll just eat Gravitum, take that away. NT did just Hex Flash the wall. But all right, V3, hopefully you guys respect this. Like, there's still too many. Oh, okay, no, that's all right. Control ward down. I was like, if Hidal just went a little bit further forwards, he was toast, which is really concerning. But yeah, the ability to just play patient and Death Sentence them back into the 2v2 once the health bars have been expunged. Really, really nice. Shows control play from NT, confident play. Excited to see more.
Definitely so. Enti's such a treat to see him on these peeling supports, but maybe we have Caster cursed him as he will fall here to dress code. That is one answered back. Now Hadel going to just have to walk it on out, but that was a bit of an overstay, right, Temp? Because they crashed the wave. They could have backed off. They denied a lot of CS there with that play around the tri-brush to zone them back, and Enti just not really respecting the fact that he could be taken out there.
Wasn't really sure the wave was at, so if we see a replay, we'll sort of go back over that one. But yeah, like the thing about Abyssal Voyaging forwards, you'll always find someone. The thing about Glacial supports right now, your Leonas, your Threshers, they're not as tanky as they used to be. You know, you want that Aftershock, just pop a load of resistances. Not always the case now. Once will be spotted on a ward here. This is a bit too much with his level 6 in the bank. He wants to go and farm his camps as well to keep that progression forwards. The Hecarim scaling so well with experience. Instead, we'll start off the Herald. And you mentioned it before, Dodge, this is probably going to be the trade. Unica completely pathing away. Oh no. Okay, all right. This is maybe going to go sour. I think V3 are going to arrive just as this goes down. Washidai is about to go mega. They're going to try and find something.
Yeah, the Herald chasing back once and Paz. Are they actually going to give up on contesting this? The Patience resetting the eye available, but look at that, it's the full reset. V3 showed up to a Herald fight and didn't int away their entire early game. They didn't grab the Herald, but they at least dissuaded it for now. We'll see if that continues to hold true, as now they're moving in a buddy system, 2-man unit, support jungle to clear out some of that vision, but there is still a pink in that pixel there.
There is still the pink in the pixel. It's a bit of a difficult situation. Ideally, once would have cleared his camps and just be going into the Herald right now and would be disrupting V3, who would have an okay setup with no camps on the top side for Unica to take. But then that would have missed out on Washidai's timing on his mega. So a number of extra factors as we see the V3 trade not initiated. V3 hold off. They're going to just go back to their lanes. I think everyone is a bit worried about what's happened now. This is not a normal situation to be in. Normally that Herald would have been taken, the macro play completed, return to your lanes, set back up, get the wave where you need it to go. But instead, just a sort of, neither of us want to trade this. You mentioned the survival game plan from V3. That sort of feeds into that. A bit of panic from both sides, and we don't want to make a wrong step. From Sengoku, that would be the only way they lose this game, and from V3, the continued decision paralysis is kind of what they're going for here. So technically tempo V3, they did have a better position on the map slightly, but once can probably just walk back up there again with a fully clear jungle. So we'll see the outcome. Unica also pathing down towards, this will be the question now. Round 2 at the Herald. No one wanted to trade for the dragon, rightly so. What will happen here? Yu-Gi-Oh! Completely abandoning the mid wave to try and get Unica in faster onto this Herald.
Yeah, Jet. They do have that Scuttle Relic now, so a safe reset coming through from Sengoku, but maybe with that J4 flag and drag, you'd find some sort of sneak. Instead, Unica gonna show on this pink and clear it out. But it's an interesting assessment you make, right? That V3 had this window of superior tempo, but when you're in this mental position as a team, maybe you don't know how to seize that opportunity. Now, they might just get a first Herald here. I believe this would be just their third first Herald in 14 games of play. So definitely going to be a big milestone here for V3. They are still down in gold, of course. It's about 2K that lead, but so far, Operation Don't Bleed Too Hard and Wait for Aphelios not going too badly, but Yu-Gi-Oh was chunked out in the mid lane. Now once all the way behind Dress Code, has the Gravitum, has Hadel coming over to offer more peel as well. Nice try once. It's not going to come through, but Honey will crash a lot of minions and pick up some plate gold.
Yeah, the respect there from Dress Code. I don't know who called it in comms, but if your opposing jungler isn't contesting the objective, they're probably going to cross map, and the cross map at the moment isn't necessarily first dragon. It's not the end of the world. It's diving the solo AD carry under that tower. So Dress Code respects it, walks away. NT will be engaged upon. It's not going to be the wombo combo coming through. That's what we look for from V3. We look for the moment the shockwave comes through.
Yeah, that's a lot of ultimates burned there for not much concrete advantage either way, but Jet's the one with the flank, the one with the pinch, going to force him all the way back, going to take that Spirit Rush proc over the wall to force back V3. At the end of the day, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 ultimates we saw there, perhaps. Definitely a big sort of puff up your chest, try and scare the bear away, look big moment. But the only trade at the end of it all is just going to be this first Drake going over to Sengoku. It's a bizarro world. These objectives have been flipped completely on their head. But I gotta ask you, Temporal, is it possible that in playing this passive wait for Aphelios to scale up style, you're going to bleed away too much? Because we look at this gold lead, it's already 3K.
More than that, it's the likely outcome here for V3. The most important thing that was lost there wasn't the first Ocean Dragon. That doesn't really matter too much at this stage. 13 minutes. Most characters have got some decent base health regen coming through anyway. Most importantly was Yu-Gi-Oh's Flash. He will now have to be propped up in the 2v2.
Oh my goodness, that was a great shockwave, but Jet is not perturbed, is going to find the charm to escort the exit. Hadel showing up to try and back up the play. But in the end, the first shockwave of consequence, not really going to find anything at all as that rocket just skates by. Unica not even worried about it.
Not even close, baby. Yeah, first shockwave slightly wide once. We'll continue this now. He's got no camps up, so bullying Unica is just the best thing he can be doing right now. We'll just skate away from V3's laners, able to sort of run it away. Most importantly, Unica did trade a lot for the tempo previously onto that first Herald, so we are seeing gold advantages in CS, particularly top jungle and bot lane. Jet's not spent all of his time in lane, but this is the slow bleeding out start that you mentioned. This is the start of Sengoku's laners being in a better position for the next big fight. And it's really, really looking quite rough. We've seen the Everfrost used to great effect a few times already. Dress Code will just waltz away from this. Hedel shouldn't. What?
Yeah, he gets gobbled up. The shield is going to absorb a lot of damage back, but it's Honey already finding one. The jungler will be next to fall for V3. Dress Code trying to 200 years his way out, but it's just not a possibility. Even with that red-white gun, it's Jet getting in on the fun. It's the 5-1 advantage for Sengoku now, up about 4,500 gold. And that was a bit of a head scratcher. I had assumed Hedel was going to be spitting Dress Code out back over the wall. Maybe the wall he had pathed towards was just a bit too thick. I'm not sure on the range of that. But Honey going to pick up lots of standing gold now.
With the way Tom Kenchel works, you can either spit them out or they can remove themselves. Like you can right click out of it. So I think maybe what happened here, Dress Code gets eaten. You'll notice sort of the big shield comes through. Hedel positions next to the wall and he goes 180 degrees the wrong way, straight into Hecarimel. And while he'll live a bit longer, Jet now has prime positioning. There is no more Devour. You only get one use per fight. And he just gets absolutely picked off. Like, if he'd have been able to get over the wall, that would have been great. So I think maybe a little bit of miscommunication, a little misclicking from V3 costs them huge. That is a huge gold explosion. Jet looks enabled on this Ahri now. Honey starting to scale fantastically. 2 items coming through. Big advantage over dress code right now. We'll be able to go to the mid lane. We're going to see this Ahri either try and shadow something, go to the sides, try and pick someone off. This is the acceleration from Sengoku, and I don't really see the brakes on the train from V3. It's going to have to be misplay into Tahm Kench, where he gets out the only target and the fight is continued. Otherwise, this is going to get really rough really, really fast for V3.
Yeah, definitely on the precipice of disaster. One really rough point there was the Herald was dropped to get a little bit of a chunk down on that tier 1 in the mid lane, but maybe V3 showing their inexperience at having that first Herald, not getting it down before 14 minutes, didn't get any extra plate gold conversion off of it, as that's just the rocket to be annoying coming through from Honey, going to secure a better reset timer for them, although they're hanging around to push another wave here, it looks like. Jet, meanwhile, in the side lane. I mean, Sengoku just has the run of things right now.
They really do. Their assassin is turned on. The Ahri just able to do so much. Honey, oh, that's what that rapid fire cannon can offer you in a simplified game state. Just hit your opponent from further away than they can ever reach. And this sort of macro setup where the lantern is consistently used to sort of goad your opponents into saying, hey, the AD carry will be leaving the room in, 4 or 5 seconds, please. Just enjoy watching them hit your tower with no counterplay. It's just so good. It's a bit of a clinic from Sengoku here. They can do this to every tower on the map. You'll notice they're also knocking on the tier 1. They've just reset their AD carry, like, already in time for Herald 2. Sengoku are already in position. Jet teleport coming up, so he's happy to head down to the bottom lane. It's all organized and it's all happy. The only way V3 can get in on this potentially was to have recalled much earlier, was to have given it more infrastructure, and it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation.
Yeah, stuck between that rock and a hard place. The Mountain Drake is up, and it will have an objective bounty placed over its head, but it looks like, once again, V3 will be late to that party. Unica are going to clear out that far side ward, but Empty has so much capability to move up and get deep vision in the lane there. Paz's TP soon to be available. Jet's TP is up.
No.
Death sentence there into the chompers. We've seen it before. Paz picks up that kill. Dress code in the meanwhile, all on his lonesome, and it's Honey who finds the snipe out. Washidai trying to kite out, trying to kite back, but it's just not effective. Narbar will hit full in a meaningless timer, as that is 3 kills picked up. A tier 2 on the menu for Honey, and that Mountain Drake still sitting there ready to be collected.
It's not even a rush here for Sengoku. They find a huge fight. Hetzel, unfortunately, didn't realize he was on vision, and then a blind hook through the bush. So Sengoku knew he was there, but still hit him blind. Just for style points here from NT. And with that, dress code is vulnerable. Hecarim can run him down from a million miles away. Graves does so much damage. Paz, so useful in the fight to just pick up an extra person. They deny away any objective bounties. They continue their march through V3's infrastructure. Sengoku in the driver's seat here. We'll come back through. Unica spotted going in. Hetzel spotted behind him on that ward over the wall. So Enti just sets the timer in his mind, just like, hey, we'll catch him here. With the Kench gone, all of the self-peel, all of the defense from V3 taken away. Honey will pick up another. Jet just able to dance through, do so much damage, and from long range, Paz says, I'm not going to use this ultimate for another 2 minutes, so I might as well.
Yeah, just ready and willing to pull the trigger in such an advantaged position as Jet finding the charm over the wall into the Everfrost. The CC chain is absolutely nasty, as that is easy pickings, and now dress code once again in the 1v1 with the horse. They keep on meeting like that. The Gale Force used to try and get away, but Honey is there. Rapid fire proc finds it so easily. The flag and drag is canceled as well. Unica trying their best to sustain through with the Gore Drinker, but it's just not going to make the cut. And now with this Baron Nashor buff spawning in just 10 seconds here, Sengoku have all the room they need to pick that one up, and another tier 1 turret soon to fall as well. They just have all these pieces of candy to pick up all over the map.
They've got everything they need. It's maybe something we could be more critical of. This sort of classic Kench composition where it's like full wait for later on relies on your opponent not playing around the Kench. It requires them to turn their brains off slightly, and maybe that's a bit cruel, but it's showing up here for V3. A slight bit of playing around the Kench where the assassin attacks him first. You've got a charm for the Kench, and then you got an Everfrost for everyone else. You got the ability to just take away the catfish before
My goodness.
the fight actually starts. You know, there's no recourse now for anything V3 want to do. Their carry is not worth defending. He's consistently found by Hecarim. It's really, really rough, and it's kind of coming to a quick end. I don't see a way, sans that massive misplay from Sengoku, the V3 can even contest a fight now.
Yeah, it really does feel somewhat hopeless here with the 12k gold lead at 20 minutes. And I wish I could say this wasn't par for the course for V3, but they have racked up lots of impressive gold deficits. And Sengoku definitely near the top of the table in the league, good at finding lots and lots of advantages. And now the bait brush.
Here we go. Here we go. This is good stuff. This is looking for an advantage from here. Oh, you wouldn't find one.
Yeah, that is just what happens. Jet going to spot out that play from a mile away, sniffs it out. Hadel taken so low, that thick skin already gone, forced to flash. It was Unica trying to counter-engage on the back line, but NT basically dealing with that quite easily. Dress Code has the team fight guns. That's Severum Crescendum, but look at the onslaught of shadows into the instant cleanse. Flash coming out from Dress Code, both summoners gone. Nothing to be done about it, and it's just pure domination. Sengoku putting on a clinic.
Really did. Their only death. That one unfortunate misplay from NT in the bot lane. Everything else has looked completely flawless. They've picked up everything this game, and it's just looking so good here. I don't see a way for V3 back in. It's really, really sad. There's not even like a, you know, maybe if this happens, maybe if the Death Bush works. Sure, we'll go back to in the replay. V3 assemble right in front of the Scryer's Bloom. One of them could have taken the Scryer's Bloom, guys. This would have, you know, maybe ensured Jet getting caught out. Make it a squishy person. Make it someone who should be there clearing vision, maybe. And, you know, you might find Jet coming back in. But instead, we see the efficacy of the Everfrost. Hedel spends so much time on the wrong side of no man's land. And even with Paz getting caught out with the shockwave and NT receiving some damage, it's not enough. Sengoku completely break open V3. Dress Code having to run away so far. And it's just all Sengoku right now.
Yeah, my skepticism towards the Everfrost alleviated to an extent. Jet certainly showing off that you don't have to shy away from doing just absolutely insane amounts of damage just because you go for a more utility-oriented mythic here. Makes his full combo so much more deadly to offer that extra lockup. And now the 11-page Magi Soul Stealer as well, just continuing to stack up even more flat AP. Really going to be rough, as you've covered in spades. It's 15k, the advantage coming through from Sengoku. Just going to have to try and make a stand here against the Nasher at their tier 3, but Honey can just poke and chip away from such range. This Jinx's siege capabilities in the late game, so powerful.
Just able to take away so much from such long range. Jet in the 4-1. The waves aren't synchronized, but at this stage, I think it is a more than foregone conclusion. This game is coming to an end shortly. Sengoku, they will look for some interaction, but not too much. They're not too worried here. The inhibitor going down. Someone will have to respond to Jet. And I don't think even Jet ready to wait. There's once just charging to the base. It's really not looking good, Dodge.
I mean, that was a huge shockwave, but you're just so far behind. At this point, you can find the clumped up multi-man shockwave, and it really makes no difference as Jet just continuing to dominate here. Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dress Code left on their lonesome. Yu-Gi-Oh! The first one to fall from that duo. Dress Code versus the world, and Dress Code has decided to run back to the fountain. Says, I don't feel like facing the world today. I'm going to sit and watch the Nexus fall in front of my eyes. Unica trying to make a last stand, but you can't really believe it's going to result in much as this Nexus is just waiting to be blown up. Finally, it ticks over, and in a very expected fashion,